Rich what?
Richmond.
Rich what?
Richmond.
Rich what?
All right, that's Richmond. All right,
What up, y'all? We gonna review, guess what? Coach Carter, the classic. Oh, the classic Coach Carter. I love this movie, and I love basketball movies, you know? But first, gonna introduce my guest, Will, my cuz Will. So let's talk about the YouTube channel, Road to William. Talk about it, cuz.
Road to William, my channel. Be over there vibing, learning, growing. Got some reviews, movie reviews coming out. Go check my channel.
Yeah, one stop shop.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about movies, entertainment, news, icons, black culture, whatever you want. Da ba da doo 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 boo da. But yeah, let's get it started. So, what I like to do with movie reviews is, if you could describe this movie, Coach Carter, in one word, what would it be? This is a toughie. This is a very, very toughie. I would say lessons. That's my word. Because Coach Carter was teaching them a lot of lessons on and off the court. And not just his players, He was teaching the parents. He was teaching the teachers and the educators at school. He was teaching them, hey, things don't have to just be about basketball, you know. Oh, this is the highlights of their lives. Oh, hey, that's the problem. You know, there's a lot of great quotes, but I just feel like he was teaching them how to have a better life, and he was teaching them discipline. And I do love that, it showed like what happened to them later. They got scholarships and, what they majored in. And I'm sure that, I'm sure Coach Carter really is still in their lives today, teaching them things, and they get to hand it off to their kids. And it made the news for a reason. It wasn't heard of, locking the gym away. You were undefeated, right? But the grades were slipping. That's what mattered. But a lot of people, the fans, the parents, the teachers, they didn't understand it. Who does this guy think he is? You're there to win basketball games, man. you know, but he wanted something more out of them. He was teaching them you're more than just what you do on this court. I want you to get a better education. I don't want to see you dead or locked up, right? What word would you pick?
I would pick action. My word. Because throughout the film, Coach Carter was nothing fazed him. Like when people would, the only person he let like buy with words only was that one guy's mother, who was played by Octavia Spencer. That was the only person he let slide, but that'll be for later. But other than that, even dude who kept quitting the team, he always got on my nerves doing that. It still stayed the same. I watched it as a kid, watched it as an adult. He still got on my nerves. But his words didn't matter to him because he had to show him he took this serious. He took his life serious, and it's only through action.
Yeah, great word. I heard you mention Octavia Spencer. I love her acting. And, you notice, like, a lot of these, I feel like Samuel Jackson, he's the main household name, right? He's in so many movies. It's like I don't even know if people can pick a favorite Samuel Jackson movie, you know? You might have to pick, what's your top 5, not your favorite one because he's in so many. It's ridiculous his resume. And I think he only started acting like when he was really, really older. But there's so many great actors and actresses in this. You mentioned, oh no, you didn't mention that, but I was going to mention it. Channing Tatum, before he was a household name, right? With the Step Ups and the Magic Mikes, right? And now he's in a lot of others. You know, he was in there. Timo Cruz, who you mentioned, his name is Rick Gonzalez, real name, and he started getting more roles after this. He was in like Roll Bounds, there's just so many. Ashanti. I feel like this was Ashanti's first film, and now she's in other films. I feel like she's in like the Netflix film and a Christmas film, and you know. Oh, I he's behind there. Worm. I know Worm because well, Antoine Tainer. That's his real name. I know him because he used to be on The Parkers. He used to be the boyfriend of Kim. And he was also in another basketball movie, Sunset Park, but he was real young and he had hair. He wasn't bald. And um it's so many. Of course, Arnez. I mean, everyone knows Arnez from 101, right? And he's been in other films. He's been in Cousin Skeeter, right? His name is Robert Richard. Um, Oh, and he was on a podcast recently, Byron Scott's podcast, and he was saying the drunk scene with the girls was real. They were really drunk and they were really just making out with these girls, and the upstairs room was off limits, but Worm was in there with a girl in real life. They told um they told him, hey, they don't have a permit for the swimming pool, but they still jumped in there anyway. And they said the girl he was kissing became his real girlfriend, for like 7 years. I said, wow, it just amazes me how some scenes are, you know, you know, acted, right? But some were real. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But yeah, uh another one, Keon. Rob Brown, that's his acting name. He was in a good sports movie called The Express about a famous football player. So a lot of the can't forget 30W, Adrian Billion, and this is before Cheetah Girls happened. So, this is before Cheetah Girls happened. Right? So, and
started with Cheetah Girls, okay?
This is I wonder if there could be a Cheetah Girls series. Probably a movie though.
Go on tour. I will go on tour. I didn't even know they went on tour back then. I was like, what?
Oh yeah.
I would definitely go to see. I don't care how much it is. People be like, oh, I can't go see it. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. Put me on a payment plan. Figure it out.
And can't forget Debbie Moore. She was in a lot of. Morgan.
Yes.
She was in a lot of things. Eve's Bayou. But so what was your favorite? Do you have a favorite quote or a favorite scene from Coach Carter? I mean, there's so many great scenes. A++ on the basketball scenes. I love it. The instrumentals, the slow motion, the plays, the physicality. This is what a real sports movie, basketball movie should be. I love the camera angles. Everything about that was great. Do you have a favorite scene or quote?
I think favorite scene was when he had like the play of his life and how he was sitting in uh, the gym trying to figure out how he's gonna like execute this plan. And it takes like that saying, it takes a village. And it's like the families at home doing all that they can do to make sure they kids is on the right path. But then when they leave their kids in, the system, the school system's hands, it's their job to then kind of take over and help them get to that part of success. So when he was sitting in that gym, looking back at when he played, it was kind of like, to me, he was looking back at like, how did I make it through then? How did I beat the odds? Because the people with him, he was living that dream that he was like the future to them. Like, okay, I didn't go to the NBA, and I had the chances to, and people around me did as well, but we didn't. And we didn't get this far. We didn't get as far as you all did. Like, to have a chance to expand on education. So I think he was reflecting on how to make one of the biggest plays, not just of his life, but the people he will be impacting. That was my favorite scene.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have like a favorite quote? Um, Something that resonated with you, or you thought that was funny, or I do like Octavia Spencer scenes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when she was arguing about this is basketball, man,
Mm-hmm.
because the expectations of the parents was like, hey, why they gotta wear a suit and tie? And then Samuel Jackson was like, we too cheap. we too no, we too good to shop at the 99-cent store. And and her mother was like, I ain't that broke. I like that scene. And he rose the expectations of them because, you know, the system was like, oh, all you need is like a 2.0 or something. I forgot what the grade point average was, but he bumped it up like, um, maybe a 2.5. I forgot the GPA, but yeah, I did like the parents arguing though, for sure.
I don't have a favorite quote, but
Okay.
those are funny scenes. I liked Octavia Spencer's scene where she kind of pleaded with him, like, just hear me out, you know, and understand that each person was case by case, but they all needed that gentle love, that they kept trying to look for out in the streets. That
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of Octavia Spencer, she's one of my favorite. She's not better than Viola Davis, my favorite, you know, like, but she's definitely top 3, right? And think about it. That scene that you're talking about when she's in the store, she's like, when a child dies, you know, you're afraid that you're gonna get another phone call. And she killed it. And it was a short scene, but she killed it. I said, that's the raw emotion that got you where you are today, Octavia.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's getting star roles. Um, I think I think this is what I love about this film. You know, there's entertainment, right, about basketball, right? But there's also lessons about life, right? There's great acting, great funny lines. Worm was the funniest because he
Yeah.
was always flirting with the girls, and he was
Oh,
like,
he said 5 shades of brown. Now that was funny because then he did with your 5 shades of brown on.
"Oh yeah." I
Hmm.
wonder if some of those were ad libs or you know actual lines. But yeah, you know, the line where it was like, "Oh, coach, she was at the top, I was at the bottom,"
Oh,
and when uh when Cruz scared Lyle, you know, with a gun and faked like it was gonna rob, Worm was like, "You were scared, huh? I wasn't scared." So different things like that. But yeah, the raw emotion of Cruz begging and pleading, what I gotta do to get back on the team when his cousin died and it was going in slow motion. It's like there was no scene that was in the movie that should have been left out, right? So I could just imagine what the 4 hour unextended version was. Like every scene, huh?
go ahead.
No, just every scene that was in the movie should have been in there. And, um, you can go next.
As messed up as that scene was, for him, I think had to happen because he was only seeing the good side of stuff. Like he got the privileges of like, okay, when you go through this life, you get the money, you get the cars, you get what you want. You know what I mean? When you live this life. So he was kind of living that good life. But it doesn't last, and that that kind of showed him you can't be in this life forever. In that life and in this one. So like choose what you do with your time wisely.
Timo Cruz, you know, he's one of those people that, had to get second chances because he quit the first time meeting Samuel Jackson's character, Coach Carter. He tried to swing on him, and he's like, "This ain't over," and he wanted out, right? Then he saw, hey, the team's playing good, and he gotta go to this drug run while the team is celebrating the win without him, and so that was another chance that he was like, I kind of don't really want to do this. I'd rather be with those guys, but I'll do this. Because even when he was talking with his cousin, he still was like, I'm fine, yeah. But, basketball was missing. So he was like, what I got to do? So he had to run a lot of sprints and stuff. And he really wouldn't have been back on the team if the team didn't. It was a beautiful scene. And Coach Carter was proud you know, when Lyle stepped up, to do some, suicides and push ups for him because they didn't have to do that. And then Worm said, I guess I'll do some too. That would have been me. I would have been the last one to volunteer because, like, I'm like, I guess, sure, I don't want to run extra. But, and then he quit the team again, Cruz, right? Cruz quit again because when the lockout happened, he was like, I ran all those sprints. Well, technically, yes, you did, but the team helped you out too. The grades was failing. So he needed a couple more chances, and like you said, maybe that bad event needed to happen to steer him in the right direction. Do you have a favorite character? It's too many to pick.
He made me laugh the whole time. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Oh, Worm? Yeah. Worm, he was good. He was good. It was good. It it's kind of hard for me to pick my favorite, you know, because there's so many likable guys in there. You know, Samuel Jackson's likable. And when I had it on DVD, I probably still have it somewhere. I would watch behind the scenes of how, it was filmed, and I actually saw some of the real life sisters he was talking about that made plays for them, and I saw the real Coach Carter, and I was like, wow, Samuel Jackson and him got the same facial hair. And I saw Damian Carter, the real Damian Carter. I was like, ooh, he has some nice eyes. Um, he actually was, chocolate like Samuel Jackson's character, not Arnaz's character. But Arnaz probably would be my favorite character because, I knew him for 101, and he just looked at very intense, when, when he was playing basketball, like I was always looking at their faces. But um how did you like the situation with Ashanti's character, Kyra, and Rob Brown's character, Kenyon? Because that was sort of a good storyline in the movie about her being pregnant, and they kind of had their I like the club scene. I'm not gonna lie. I like the club scene when they were dancing. He was looking at her and the girl was dancing, and then Ashanti tried to, do her little thing, taking off the jacket. I like that scene. That scene was funny. I really like it. So they did have a good mixture of, back and forth with it.
Yeah.
Do you like that storyline? Could it have been left out? What did you think about that storyline?
I liked it. I liked how when she told him she didn't keep the baby, that he didn't leave her, and that showed really like who they were as like individuals and as a couple. Like the other guys, they kind of just want to hit the skins and keep it moving. Like they're not really into nothing serious. They're young. They want to keep going. Like where those two characters, like that club scene was funny. I love the music. The music was on point. It's probably favorite parts of it. For you, it's the basketball scene. For me, it's the music. Like every song hit. We got Anthony Hamilton in there. I'm like, okay, we got everybody. Cool J in there. They called me Big. You should put Ellie the elephant up on the Liberty mascot. Shout out to
Goodness,
people think Sydney, but Ellie said Sydney wishes. So I'm like, whoa. But I think that scene was dope because it showed that you don't really need this. This baby doesn't. This is not the only thing that can connect y'all. Like, because people think like, oh, once we have this baby, then it's official or something, and it's like, no, like if y'all love each other and want to be with each other, you don't need to like do that to prove it, And he was like, come with me, because he was basically saying like, I got us regardless, and even though we don't have this, she thought he was gonna leave, but he was like, no, like I want to be with you, like, yeah, that dancing was funny because it showed them like, yeah, we can dance with whoever, but I don't care about them. Like, I care about you. Let's do this. This is hard enough. But I'm glad she wasn't completely alone. But I like that story because it just showed that it's not your typical cookie cutter love story. It's like you go through stuff, and through the hard stuff, do you still want to be with each other? And then it's like, yeah, just because it's hard doesn't mean you're not supposed to be, And it ain't like they were being, abusive or anything to each other, but they weren't like understanding each other and trying to hear each other, because he was kind of like, she was used to it, and just because she was used to it doesn't mean she had to do that. But she felt like, well, I'm doing this already, why not? And it was funny because that scene where he was like, they was trying to get it on, and then like the baby started crying, and it was like, yeah, no. And he was like, we gotta get our own spot. My thing is, the baby's still gonna be there because she still gotta watch him. Like, y'all just gonna be in a different apartment. Like, she still gotta watch the baby, because who's gonna watch the baby once she leaves? You know, it's still not her responsibility, but it kind of like, she was kind of in a stance, you know, a weird um, like in Menace to Society when Kane had an opportunity to go with Ronnie, but then in this one it's like the opposite gender, you know, sex, saying like, hey, do you wanna, and how you go with that. But I thought that was dope because what is she doing? Nothing was there like for them. And they got all this history, yeah, but it's like that everybody was trying to like, the parents were upset because everybody was trying to get their kids out from what was around them. It's violence, it's no, it's just everything's negative. So we gotta push these kids to go out. But I like how the coach kind of humbled the parents almost in the sense of like, okay, but they're still kids. They're still, we can still guide them in the right direction without just pushing them off to what? The NBA, and then who else, who gonna be taking care of them like that? That's why Octavia Spencer's character was like, no, I want him to play for you. And I actually gonna switch my favorite character to Robert Richards' character because I admired him a lot when he was like, he didn't want to go to the NBA. Like, he probably didn't have like basketball like his dad liked it, Coach Carter liked it. But the fact that he knew that like he was a good father, he's like, if I know he's a good father, I know he'd be a good coach. He's proved himself time and time again. If like, even though I won't go to the NBA and don't have desires, like just playing for you is probably like going to the NBA, like that feeling. And so I think that was dope that when he made that home game winning shot, his father, like that, he gave his father something, you know, and that was fire.
Yeah, I liked all those scenes, and it's cool that he broke all his dad's records. I mean, that's that's something that's always gonna live on, and you know, he could say, "Hey, gotcha, pops." But yeah, I did like the music, the Yin Yang Twins, back it up, and you know, Akon, you know, like you said, Anthony Hamilton, and I bought the Coach Carter soundtrack when I was younger when they made CDs, and, and I had and Fabulous was on there, and another female rapper. I don't know her name, but I did like her song. It was the song when they was sneaking out to go to that mansion party, and it was like, you know, so I remember having that, you know, soundtrack and Twista with Hopeful. Yes, I'm hopeful. But yeah, there was another song. There was Alicia Keys in there, and let me see. Yeah, coming where I'm from. Yeah, the music was fire, you know, and you know, some good basketball music too, you know, the Triumph music. But yeah, I just think it's a classic. I feel like there's lighthearted parts, there's serious parts, like when he was talking about the, you know, percentage of males that go to college versus that are in jail, and being real about their grades. And think about it. What better way to set an example? You're undefeated, and he's willing to forfeit all of that for your grades. I mean that. And also, what he was saying was correct. The higher grades you have means you don't have to have a super high SAT score. So basically, like, because you know how, like, some, for example, like, they said Derrick Rose might have cheated on his SAT, or Brandon Jennings went overseas because he couldn't pass the SAT. The higher your grade point average is, your, SAT score doesn't have to be as high. But the lower your grade point average is, the higher your test scores have to be. You know, so hey, but, and like you said, hey, but, and I do like that some of the teachers volunteered, not all of them, and even the players was helping them with, some of the other players, was helping them and stuff. I just love that. And I just love that Samuel Jackson was using the girls too. Hey, can you go in this library to help these boys out? Because, you know, hormones. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and make sure you guys go to the Road to William YouTube channel. And are there anything else you would like to say? A big lesson you learned in the movie, maybe? Um, Anything that comes to mind?
That when we set forth a goal, it's not an easy path, but you're not alone, and that people around you will help you on that path because they're on the same journey with you. So you just got to keep fighting, no matter how hard it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I learned it definitely does take a village, like you said. It took a lot of people, teachers, parents coming around, the brotherhood, the relationships with the significant other, the coaches, and they're probably still cool to this day. That's pretty cool. And also the greatest fear quote. That's awesome. Um, because that is, some people's greatest fear. That might be my greatest fear. What if you succeed? You know, you can't be afraid to let your light shine. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me, and make sure you stay bonded. Peace.